Welcome back. Another episode to On the Line. Episode 18, I believe this one is. I've decided to record this. So, hello, people watching on YouTube, if there's anyone. We'll see how this goes. I am probably going to split this one into two parts today. Mainly because it was supposed to be one where I'm talking about my road to veganism, but I didn't take any notes or prepare anything. I'm just kind of shooting from the hip today. So, don't know where it's going to go. Don't know what's going to happen, but we're in now. We've started. There's no going back. Yeah, far out. Hasn't been a full week since I last recorded, obviously, but wanted to get another one out in the nick of time. Far out. So the power's been out for what was it? It went out Friday night. I only just got back on. No, Friday morning. So what's that? So 24 hours. Friday morning to Saturday morning, 24 hours. Sunday morning is, what's that? Another 24. Fucking hell. Damn, son. Almost 3 days. I was cleaning the fridge out with all the shit because, okay, let's just rewind this shit back. Firstly, I don't think we realize how much we rely on power. We are so reliant on it. And then when it's taken away, we're like, oh shit, I'll just do this. And then you're like, oh no, I can't do that because that requires power. Oh, I'll do this. No, that requires power too. You're like, fucking hell, everything requires power. How good's this Dragon Ball sticker? I don't know whether I'm going to stick it on my laptop or my car. Sidetracked. I'm also going to be playing with this bad boy. A COVID thingo. It's my stress ball. Distractions. Don't know what I was talking about. That's right. So we rely on power for so many different things. We don't realize how much we need it, but until it's gone, then we're like, fuck, I need it for that, this, everything. Anyway, my biggest bone to pick with the power going out has nothing to do with my phone. I don't really care. The only reason I wanted charge in my phone was because I don't like to go riding without a phone. Because, just in case something happens, just in case I fucking wipe out or crash, it would be nice to be able to call someone and be like, hey, this is what happened. Or, just alert someone. And my bike computer has automatic alerts, but it requires I'm trying to look at the camera too. Maybe I should move the camera. No, it's too risky. What if I just move my laptop? I don't want the camera to be fucked up. Don't want it to be in the way. There we go. That's better. Yeah, it relies on mobile service from your mobile to actually send the alert, I think. So I like it for that. So that was the only really reason I wanted my phone. But the biggest concern I had, or the biggest issue I had with the power going out, was the fucking food in the fridge, man. I hate wasting shit. And then it's just all of a sudden everything is wasted. Everything in the fridge, gone. Especially when it's more than a day. Even the freezer, everything, done. Wasted, gone, in the bin. So frustrating. So I was actually earlier, I was putting stuff in the bin and, having that conversation with myself, fuck this. Why do I have to put everything in the bin? This is bullshit, blah, blah, blah. And then the fridge started beeping because it does that when the door's open for too long. And I was like, would you just shut the fuck up? And then it kind of dawned on me. I was like, the power's back on. Great. So then I zoomed down to the shops, grabbed some food, cooked up some burgers and chomped them down. I don't like eating out heaps too because it costs a lot of money when you can get you buy a burger from a burger place and it costs you $15-ish on average, whereas you can make 4 burgers for $15 at home. I would much rather make 4 and eat 4 burgers than spend $17 on one. You get way more bang for your buck when you cook for yourself at home than when you buy stuff out. So that was my evening. I'm just going to adjust the gain on this bad boy. There we go. I wonder if that sounds any different if I go either side of the microphone. It kind of does. It sounds, I can hear it in my headphones. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, so this week's actually been a really good week, me training-wise. Mentally, yeah, interesting. Oh, I could talk about my psychology appointment. Wonderful. My head's racing at 1,000 kilometers an hour at the moment. I am just going to, run through some housekeeping stuff. So I will split this into 2 parts and I will put in a part to, I don't know, I might do 15, 20 minutes now and then I'll do I'll jump on tomorrow and talk about the vegan or road to veganism later on. But for now, we're just doing general chit chat. So buckle up and enjoy. So I'm going to go from the start of the week to the end. So I recorded Monday, so we'll start Tuesday. Tuesday, I had my psychology appointment, and that was very interesting. She's a very spiritual psychologist, which, like, I don't know, it sounds wacky, but at the same time, when you're sitting there and you're like, oh shit, you're right. It's like, it's hard to ignore. But it was super cool. Like, she went through a lot of things and a lot of stuff that, you know, a lot of, not issues, I don't want to say issues, but a lot of things I got is like stems from childhood trauma, childhood circumstance. I don't know, but that's where a lot of stuff stems from. What did she say that was super cool? Yeah, there was some things that happened when I was, you know, younger that kind of resulted in me having to grow up earlier. And she's like, that's probably why, because I don't really want to have kids. And she's like, that's probably why you don't want to have kids, because you were forced to grow up and you were forced to be an adult or a parent when you were, you know, young. I think I was like 14, 15 or something when shit went down, and I like was forced to step up and, you know, look after my brothers and stuff. So I think, yeah, she said that's probably why you don't have kids, because you were forced to be a parent when you were young. So you've already done that. And I was like, shit, you're right. Just stuff like that where she, like, you know, opens your eyes to things and points in the right direction. So that's after, you know, one session. So keen to do a few sessions with her and see where that takes me. I'll keep you guys posted on the, you know, the things that I can keep you posted on. But yeah, fucking oath, that was Tuesday. I swam last week too, for the first time in a very long time. I think I did. I don't know if I mentioned that on Monday's podcast, but I swam no, because I recorded that during the day and swam in the afternoon. Yeah, it was good. It hurt, you know, blow the cobwebs out. I've decided I'm going to keep track of how many days it takes me to get back to full swim strength, because this has happened a few times with lockdowns, and I just want to know how long it takes me to get back to like peak swim fitness. Because before lockdown, or, you know, around like my Ironman, even when I got back from my Ironman, I was swimming really strong. And then, really strong. Like when I got back, I think my fitness, you know, just went through the roof because it adapted to the race. And yeah, I was fucking flying. And then, you know, as you know, chance has it, happens has it. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Lockdown happened again, and then, you know, swim fitness you lose in like a fucking week. So when you haven't swum for 6 weeks, or what was it, like, it's like a couple of months actually. When you haven't swum for ages, you just lose all of it, and you've got to start from scratch. So that's what I'm doing, and I would like to know how many weeks it takes me to get back to, or how many swim sessions it takes me to get back to full swim fitness. Just because I feel like that's a valuable bit of information to have, you know, if I'd ever decide to, you know, not train all the time, and I'm like, all right, I really want to do a race. How long is it going to take me to ramp my swimming up? Oh, you know, 12 weeks. Great. Start 12 weeks out, build into it. So I'm going to keep track of that on Strava. Also, if you're not following on Strava and you have Strava, jump on. It's just my name. If you can't find me, just message me and I'll follow you. But fucking love the old Strava. Yeah, so I'll be doing that on Strava. What else? What else happened this week that was relatively interesting? Nothing much in my personal domain. Just training. Training was good this week. Felt well. Back is doing well. I looked after it. I was responsible with my training. I decided to do a deload in my strength stuff. I stuck to that. I didn't deviate. I actually deloaded. Which was beneficial, big time. I am feeling much better this week. I actually managed to do my rides this weekend and run off the bike and, you know, didn't pussy out, which I have done the last couple of weeks because of my back. Because of my back and because I couldn't be bothered mentally. But, you know, I managed to get through it, which is good. Yeah, so fast forward to Thursday night it was. I think Thursday night was a crazy storm, wind. Fucking, it was hectic as, man. Holy shit. Couldn't believe it. Didn't sleep because I was like, what the fuck's going on? Then, like, woke up to crazy wind the next morning, and I had to swim, and then obviously you could only swim in outdoor pools, and I was like, far out, rang the pool up, you guys still open? And they were like, yeah, no, it's fine, you can come down. The only time we're really shut is if there's lightning, and I was like, sweet. So sketchily drove down to the pool while the wind was blowing a gale. I was worried about a tree falling on my fucking car, which would have been a spew, considering I've just got it. So did that, drove down, swam, and it was so peaceful under the water. But every time you'd pop your head up, fucking branches would be flying across the water. It's like there were big branches of leaves and stuff hitting the water, and I was swimming into them, and they were like wrapping themselves around me. It was like swimming through fucking seaweed. But yeah, good swim. Second swim was better than the first, which was nice. It takes like 500 meters to get into it. Like your lats, triceps, fucking biceps, everything just blows up straight away. And then you slowly get used to it, and then it's like, all right, cool, I'm in now. So that was good. Got home, and then we realized we have a windmill at home, like an old rustic windmill, and it had blown down. The storms earlier in the year, like around June, July, when all the trees got blown down in the like Dandenong Ranges, there was a storm, winds blew our windmill down, and we were like, far out. So my brother like half lifted it back up, but couldn't get it all the way up, and just strapped it to like some posts. Then the winds on Friday morning, Thursday night blew it back up right, so it's standing properly now, which is hilarious. Who would have thought that would have fucking happened? But yeah, so the wind was actually, positive in a way, but I guess I couldn't sleep that night because it was really loud. What was next? Then we roll into Saturday, and obviously we had no power all of Friday, and I was like, you know what, fair enough. It was meant to come on Saturday night, so, I was like, this will be fun, no power, we light some candles, fucking play some board games, watch a movie on the iPad and go to bed. It'll be great. And then wake up in the morning, we'll have heaps of power, and, we'll throw a party and whatever. I was lying there asleep, and then I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was like, I looked at my TV, because usually my TV has a red light to show that it's on, and I was like, it's not on. I was like, it's definitely past 12 o'clock, because, we watched a movie. I'll jump into that later. We've been rewatching a movie series, or watching a movie series for the first time. Caitlin and I, we should do a podcast about it. So I looked up and I was like, it's definitely past 12 o'clock. I was like, shit, the power's not back on. Then I fell back asleep, and I woke up again, and I looked up, and it was still not on. And I was like, fuck, it's definitely past 12 o'clock now, because it was meant to come on at 12 o'clock, midnight. And I was like, this is not good. Then my alarm went off on my watch, and I grabbed my phone to check what time it was, and my phone was flat, and I was like, shit. Oh boy. And I had, what did I do? On Saturday I had a 3.5 hour ride, and I was meeting Noah to ride with him. We're going to hit some hills. So I was like, fuck, I need my phone, because one, I don't like riding without a phone. It's not safe. I like Caitlin, stresses out a bit about me on the roads, because fair enough, cycling's not the safest sport, especially with these fucking psycho drivers out there. Not the safest sport. So I like to have a phone so that if anything happens, I could call, or if, she's worrying, I can just check in with her. So I turned my car on, charged my phone. I managed to get it up to 15% before I left. Jumped on my bike. It was fucking freezing, man. Holy shit. It was like bone chilling. I was meeting Noah at 7 o'clock, and I had started at 10 past 6, so I nutted out 50 minutes before I met up with him. It was fucking so cold. I don't know, at 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning, it was 5 degrees on the bike. It is not fun, man. I had 3.5 layers on, if you will, and it was going through me like nothing, and I was like, this is fucked. I wear surgical gloves under my gloves, and it was still cold on my fingers, but met up with Noah. It was good. We had a fucking solid ride. It was actually a really fucking good loop. I don't know if you're not familiar with the area, then I apologize. The next 30 seconds will be boring, but we started at Zenden in Eltham, cruised down, hit Mount Pleasant Road in reverse, then went right and went up towards Warrandyte, researched Warrandyte Road, got to the Warrandyte Bridge, and then turned left to go back towards Kangaroo Ground. Then we cut down Cruise Road, because it's got like a 21% incline. It's 21% incline hill. We hit that, then we went left on Pigeon Bank, I think it's Pigeon Bank Road, and then followed that all the way back round to Kangaroo Ground, Pigeon Bank, then Menzies Road, onto, I think it's Kangaroo Ground, Yarra Glen Road at the back, and then jumped on Clinton's Road, then went down to St Andrew's Market, grabbed Noah hooked me up with a chai, because the power was out, they weren't taking card, and I was like, shit, I don't have cash. So Noah graciously gave me a $7 to pay for a chai, a soy chai, and it was fucking delicious, man. They cook them in these, or they make it in these giant pots and have it on the gas heaters. They must just prep it up, the day of or whatever with soy milk, and it's fucking delicious. So that was really cool at St Andrew's Market. Then we, hooked back around, did a bit of a loop, went up Church Road to Panton Hill, and Noah dropped me off, and he kept on his way, because he had 3 hours as well, so we had to make up a bit of extra time. But it was a fucking good ride. We hit, 1,600 metres of elevation in 3 hours. Not bad. Happy days with that. Usually a good gauge for me is, 500 every hour. 500 metres of elevation every hour is like good. That's respectable in my book. But if you're, riding in the city, then you're probably going to get 300 meters over 4 hours or something, which is insane. But, out this way, 500 meters every hour, respectable. So came back from that, got home, power still wasn't on. I was like, this is awesome. Had a shower in the dark, was awesome. Couldn't make myself any snacks, was really annoyed because I realized my food was going to go off. I lost a whole tub of coconut yogurt, the Cocobella coconut yogurt, a whole tub gone. I was like, fucking, I just bought it and had like 3 scoops out of it to make a smoothie, and now it's gone. So sad. But yeah, I was sad about that. Then Caitlin, we went to Zenden, got a coffee. It was good. Went to Doncaster because, we couldn't be at home. There was no power. Well, there was no point being at home. Went to Doncaster, ran around with a bunch of people, and I had a judgment. Probably be rooted because I was like, I wish I was one of those kids when I was younger. Like, I always wanted to be one of the cool kids hanging out at the shops when I was younger, but I wasn't. I just wasn't that kid. Had other shit on. So I was looking at all the kids there and I was like, fucking hell, man. There's a bunch of losers that just hang out at the shops. Probably harsh, but, is what it is. Got a Mad Max vegan burrito. It was fucking fabulous. I think I'm just boring you guys with details at the moment. Anyway, what movies are Caitlin and I watching at the moment? We are watching The Alien and The Predator. So we've already, last weekend, we've watched so much shit lately. So we went through, Caitlin hadn't seen all the Fast and Furious movies beyond Tokyo Drift was the last one she'd seen. So we were like, we'll watch all of them. We went through, worked our way through all of them, and fucking hell, that was good. That was good rewatch. Like, I've seen them all. I usually watch them as soon as they come out. And I wanted to see F9, which is the new one. And Caitlin, I wanted to see it with Caitlin, and she hadn't seen all of them up to date. And I was like, you know what? We're going to sit down and rewatch all of them. And fucking hell, they were pretty good. I just love that kind of shit. Like, predictable, but, goosebump worthy. Every time they reference Paul Walker, it's like, teardrop comes down the eyes. It's real sad. But, yeah, fucking great TV, great movie series. They did well to, some people think it's a bit cheesy. Dominic and his family vibes, but it's good. It's good watching. I could rewatch it a couple of times and still be happy. It's like Deadpool. I could watch that shit all day and still enjoy it, and Hot Rod. But now we moved on to Alien, Predator, and then Alien versus Predator. We've watched all the Alien ones, starting with in the chronological order, the order that they occurring, and shit, it was a pretty good Alien. There was a few. The last two were a bit I don't know. Especially the last one. I think it might have been the last one or the second last one that was just whack as. The last one was just whack, but it was, it was a movie. But that was cool to watch. Then we started watching Predator this weekend. We watched the first Predator on Friday night with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that was sick. It was just like, I think it was filmed in the 80s, so the visual effects were a bit shit and stuff like that, but mate, you gotta respect it. Like, Arnie was fucking jacked, and they had this other dude, what was the actor's name? I'll look it up, because he was jacked too, so they had two jacked as leads, which was so fucking cool. I'm pretty sure I looked it up. No, I didn't. What's it called? Red. Here we go. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Carl Weathers. He was fucking jacked. These two jacked dudes, and they were just walking around the forest with no shirts on. Hectic. Like, I fucking loved it. So that was a good movie. Then we watched Predator 2 yesterday. Not at night, during the day. That was pretty good too. It had Danny Glover in it. That was pretty funny. But it wasn't as good as we watched The Predator, which is the third one. Came out in 2018. That was more recent, I suppose, with a few, big names. Not big names, but like a few newer faces. And that was funny as shit. Like, they made so many references to the earlier ones. So that was cool. And then next up, we've got, I think, the third Predators, which is the third one. And then we're going to watch the Alien versus Predator. But it's a cool little franchise. I rate it. I like that sci-fi kind of stuff. It's like Star Wars. Star Wars is cool. But I love the concept of the Predator. Like, the Alien's cool, but I fucking love the Predator. Like, part of me wishes they were real and they actually existed. Like, this badass fucking alien thing with this sick suit of armor, this mad helmet, these crazy weapons, these dreadlocks. And as one of the guys in the movie last night described it, it's like Whoopi Goldberg, but an alien. And, like, I fucking love it, the concept of these fucking crazy predator that's hunting other hunters and, like, uses them as a trophy. Although the concept of the one last night was, they were kind of, I don't want to spoil anything. I don't think this is spoilers. They were kind of hunting. No, this will spoil it. I'm not going to say it. I love the fucking concept of this crazy, insanely strong alien just hunting people for sport. And it won't kill you if you're not a threat to it, or you're not a valuable target. So it's hunting for sport. So if you're like this, I don't know, it's like someone going out and shooting. I don't know. I can't use it. I don't want to use an example that's fucking too much. They're not going to go and kill something that's not a real threat to them, because it's not a challenge. They only want to kill things or hunt people that are a challenge. So, like, if you're this trained special forces guy with a fucking gun, then yeah, it's going to kill you because you're a threat and you're actually a challenge to hunt. Whereas if you're just this, fat dude watching TV, the predator's not going to give a fuck about you. So I wish they existed, and that fucking I'd go chat to him and be like, hey dude, can you hook me up with some of this gear? I'll come hang out with you and we'll fucking go travel through space. It'd be fucking awesome. It's not too far-fetched, if you ask me. Because, like, I mean, a lot of shit's happened this year. So, what's stopping predators and aliens from existing? Nothing. Like, the same shit as the aliens. Like, what was the concept? Because Aliens is based like a couple of 100 years in the future. It's like 20, so it's like 2170, shit like that, or 2370, like crazy future. But the concept of that is this, like, I think they were alluding to the fact that the aliens were that's right. So the concept of alien is the aliens were actually created by humans of the past, so us, in theory, as a weapon, and stored off on distant planets because they didn't want to destroy our worlds. And what they would do is they would release them on other planets as a, way to fucking wipe out that entire planet, because it was just, the way it works is this face-sucking thing, plants an egg in you, and then you become this vessel for the alien baby, and then once it grows, it just bursts out of you and kills you, and then it'll go and repeat. It'll kill other people and repeat the process. While one of them lays an egg, lays eggs to create those face-sucking things, and it just destroys the whole planet. But the concept was that we actually created that because, I don't know, for whatever reason, as a weapon. Us from the past, and then us from the future. Like, it's like we become two separate things. So I'm probably butchering this, but the concept was, say us now go off, a group of us go off and live in space and create these bioweapons while, people still live on Earth. And then 100 years down the track, people on Earth are like, let's venture out. And then they come across us, and we've evolved over those 100 years to be different but similar. And we have these crazy weapons that are aliens. I don't know, man. It's crazy. I love this shit. So we've been watching that, which is cool. Still got a couple more. Alien versus Predator, keen for that. They're always good movies to watch, because the humans are kind of just like in the way. And then it's just this epic battle between this fucking sick predator and this ugly looking alien. Then what did I do today? Or what did we do last night? We had butter curry, which is amazing, for dinner last night. And then watched, the most recent Predator. And then I fell asleep, which was great. And I knew the power wasn't meant to come on till tonight, Sunday night, last night. So I was like, we charged our phones up, made sure we had enough battery. I made sure I had enough battery for this morning's ride. So I could burn through some podcasts, which was good. I had a 2-hour 40 ride into a 10K run off the bike. I haven't run off the bike for that in that distance for a long time. I think it's probably been like 2 or 3 months. I've done probably longer. I've done 6K far out. It's probably been since my Ironman. It probably has been since my Ironman. I haven't run more than 6Ks or 8Ks, I think was the most I did off the bike since my Ironman. Crazy. So that was cool to tick that off. It was weird. I decided, I was like, 2 hours 40. It'll take me 40 minutes to get to the base of King Lake from here. And then ascent and descent is usually 40 minutes as well. So I was like, cool. I'll ride there, up once, up twice, come back home. That'll get me 240, pretty much on the dot. I'll be sweet. And it did. But I got there, and, it was fucking freezing this morning. But I knew that was going to be the case. Went up the first time, came back down, then started going up the second time. And I was like, I had my food at the top of the first climb, because I was like an hour 40 in. And I was like, cool. I've eaten that. I'll settle. Be great. Halfway up the second time, I was like, I'm getting a bit jittery. I feel like I'm going to I was starting to felt like I was bonking. I was like shaking and stuff. It was crazy. It was crazy, man. I felt like I was going to start bonking. It was whack. I was like, far out. Lucky I brought an extra gel with me. So I smashed that. Got to the top. Filmed a few cool vids on the old GoPro, which I'm filming this on right now. Shout outs to GoPro. I'm so keen to smash a Cocoa Coast when I finish this. They're in the freezer, getting extra cold. I haven't been able to drink them because you don't want to drink a Cocoa Coast unless it's fucking ice cold. Got to the top. Started coming back down. I still felt fucking jittery. It was weird. I don't know what was going on. Maybe I didn't eat enough yesterday because I didn't really snack. Like, usually I snack heaps during the day and eat my meals. But because, I don't know, I didn't really have much food, I couldn't really cook anything, heated the up, I was like, fuck, I won't snack. So maybe I was a bit hungry, I don't know, low on sugar. Anyway, I was jittery all the way home, got home, put my runners on, and I was like, you know what, I'm having some corn chips because I need some salt, otherwise I'm going to bomb out on this run. And I'm so glad I had the corn chips, because the run was really good. I've dropped my COVID toy, here it is. The run was fucking awesome. I was meant to hold 5-minute Ks, ended up holding like 5:45. I think that's generous. Might have been a bit less. 4:45, for 8Ks, and it was 2K cooldown. I think the cooldown was supposed to be at 5:10 or slower, maybe 5:30, but I held under 5s because I was like, it was flat. I ran from home, hit some hills, and then leveled out and got into Wattle Glen. It was just flat, and I was like, cool, I'll just finish off here and then, cruise back. And then Caitlin picked me up because I didn't want to run all the way back home because I don't want to come all the way uphill. I'm happy running downhill to get to the flatlands, but I'm not running uphill on the way back, especially after riding for that long. and riding hills. Like, I've done enough fucking elevation. I think I hit another 1,300 meters of elevation. That means this week I took a screenshot of it. Crazy amount of elevation. 4,425 on the bike. That's wild, man. That's like half of Everest, almost. Bonkers. Yeah, got picked up, came home, and then had a shower, and like, the hot water was okay yesterday, but today I jumped in and I was like, oh, okay, it's running out real fast. So it wasn't warm, it was lukewarm. It was like someone had held water in their mouth for like 30 seconds and then spat it out. So it wasn't warm, but it wasn't ice cold. Rinsed off all the salt, got ready to go to Zenden, grabbed a coffee. It was sick. The sunshine was so nice on my body. And yeah, then crashed and burned at like 1:30, 2 o'clock. I started getting a massive headache. I was like, I haven't had enough water, hence me drinking now. Yeah, massive headache. I was like, this is not good. And then ended up having a nap. Well, I didn't have a nap. Caitlin had a nap. I tried to have a nap, but then I got distracted. But it was nice to just chill out with my eyes like squinting shut, which was cool. Not hurting the brain. Did that. Then what else happened? Then I was fucking around with the dogs. Then the power came back on. I was fucking around with the dogs outside, and I've got my ice bath. It is back online officially, cooling down as we speak. Since the power's been on, the ice bath is back, ladies and gentlemen. I picked up some Epsom salts today. The bulk food store, Thrive Bulk Whole Foods in Eltham, they actually sell Epsom salts by bulk. It's like $5 a kilo. So I don't know if that's cheap or expensive, but I bought a bunch, tipped it in my ice bath. So it's going to be rocking and rolling in the next 2 days, I think, because I've got it cranked up max, like running all the time. So until it cools down, then once it cools down, I'll put it on a timer to be on for like 2 hours at lunchtime at midnight, and then off the rest of the time, which has worked wonders for me in the past. So I'll crank it to that. So that's up and running. But I was out there, and the dogs, I got two Groodles. Hudson, who's like 5 or 6, and Axel, who's a puppy. He's still under a year. And Hudson was obsessed around the ice bath because I got like a metal structure enclosing it, protecting it from the weather. And he was going bonkers, man, sniffing. He was like, and just trying to get in there. So I pulled the cover back and let him in there to have a sniff. And he was sniffing around. Then they'll see this fucking bunny rabbit jump out of underneath, and I was like, shit. I was like, don't get it, don't get it. And the rabbit thankfully went under, dodged him, and then kind of sprinted out the back. And then Axel saw it, and fuck, he missed it by like 10 centimeters. It was insane. It thankfully made it undercover, under the shipping container. We got back there and survived, thankfully. But yeah, it was crazy. So intense. That's crazy, man. Stoked my ice baths back online. Fucking hell. Because like when it gets a bit hotter, it's so nice to come back. Like, I'm going to drop a random study bomb. Not random study bomb? Yeah, we'll call it a study bomb. Fact bomb at ya. So I was listening to a podcast with Rich Roll ages ago, and it was the benefits of like cooling the body down rapidly and the benefits on recovery. And when you, like, if you get back from a long ass brick session or a training session, it's beneficial for everything except for after strength. So if you've done a strength session, you got to wait, like, they say like 4 to 6 hours before getting in the ice bath, because otherwise you actually slow down. Like, in order to grow muscle and grow strength, I think it's grow muscle. In order to get muscle gains, you want that stress response. So you want the blood flow to go there. You want the inflammation response. But in terms of endurance stuff, you don't want that. You don't want the inflammatory response. You kind of want to flush the blood out, and let the muscles relax and get the recovery process started ASAP. So when you cool yourself down, you are actually able to bounce back the next day better. This was, I can't remember who the podcast was with, but it was with a dude who developed gloves for athletes to wear that actually, cooled down their palms, and in turn allowed them to function at their capacity for longer, because they were, weren't overheating and weren't blowing everything up. So if you understood any of that, when the weather gets warmer, I like to come home from my training sessions and jump in the ice bath for, 5 to 10 minutes, get out, have a shower, and then it's like cool. My body's cooled down back to its baseline temperature. It's not running hot. It's nice and cruisy, and I can get on with my day. So I'm so happy that's back up and running. Took me a while, but now it's back, and I can't wait to jump into it. Especially Tuesday is going to be 30, so I'm hoping that that'll be the day that I break it open and jump in. I have a 3.5 hour ride on Tuesday, cup day, so it'll be nice and warm. I'll get back, jump in the ice bath, and I'll be fucking recovered as you can get. As recovered as you can get. Was there something else I was going to say? I took notes. I do have some notes. I lied. Oh, yeah. So I listened to a podcast. What was the name of the lady? Amish Jha. Amish Jha? On Joe Rogan. She was like a meditation and mindfulness expert. Sorry, someone just replied to my story. Moving on. I got distracted. I'm distracted easily these days, eh? So she's meditation and mindfulness, like talking about how we can achieve better attention spans. And I'm just going to try and pull this from my brain. If you're watching, peace out, homie. Hashtag going live. I don't know what that. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. She's talking about us. Like if you have the patience, listen to it, because I won't do it justice. But she was talking about us and our attention spans, and how when we are under stress, our ability to focus diminishes. And the more and more stress that we are under, the more our ability to focus diminishes. The study that they were running was she had a program or a test, an attention test, and it would flash up a number every third of a second or something. And you would have to press a key on the keyboard every time a number flashed up, except for the number 3. And the number 3 would show up like 1 in every 100. Like those were the chances. So you'd be sitting there pressing it, and if you lapse your concentration, you'd just press the button when the 3 would pop up, and you'd be like, fuck, and then you'd go again, fuck. And the studies were showing that the more stress people were under, the worse they were performing in this test. So they had like a couple of groups, obviously the control group, then they had I just remembered the 2 groups, control group and then the group that was meditating. And they worked it out. The studies showed that if you meditate for 12 minutes a day, you would improve in the test, even though you were under the same stress as the other groups. And she was performing this study with soldiers. So they're like, under so much stress. And stress didn't have to be like stress from work, stress from life. It could be stress from training. Like they did it with NFL players as well. Obviously military guys who are in training and guys who are actually out in the field. And she showed that if you practice 12 minutes of meditation, and meditation being self-aware, focusing on your body. So every time your mind starts to wander, pull it back to now, pull it back to what you are feeling right now. And every time your mind starts to wander, pull it back. And just practicing that for 12 minutes a day improved their ability to focus. And sorry, she was saying that students studying as well have the same negative effect. The longer the term goes on, or the longer the course goes on, the more stress they're under, the more their ability to focus wavers, because they're under stress. And she said, like, we could benefit so much from this. Blah, blah, blah. You improve your capacity to concentrate and focus on things through meditation. And I was like, shit, maybe I'm going to start meditating. So 12 minutes a day is the minimum effective dose, she said. So if you do 12 minutes a day, you will show improvement. So I think I'm going to try and implement that. She said the best time to do it, so I'm just repeating what she said. She said the best time to try and do it is, either side of training or something that you do every day, because that way you won't have an excuse. So she's like, do it right after you brush your teeth at night, because you're going to brush your teeth every night. So as long as you do it, as long as you're brushing your teeth, you're going to meditate. So for me, I might try and work it in around training. or while I'm doing yoga even. But yeah, it's, listen to it. Listen to the podcast. Super interesting. She's got a book out, so I might listen to it. She doesn't read the audiobook, but it's, if what she was talking about is anything to go by, I'm going to listen to it. I'm actually listening. I'm partway through listening to a Joe Rogan's podcast with Jewel, and I'd had no idea she grew up in like Alaska on a homestead, where they live off the land. Wild. Literally wild. What other things? Oh, I had before I wrap it up, I had a thought. Well, when I was writing a post, I haven't posted much on social media. And I was like, I want to put up a post that, is insightful. Like, I don't know, I like thinking about things and I like processing things. And I was thinking about, hardship and how growth comes through hardship and how, like, hard times lead to good times. Because if you didn't have hard times, then the good times wouldn't mean anything and they would all be the same. So, like, you need shit times to appreciate the good times, and you need good times to appreciate the hard times. So I was talking about that, and I was like, I wonder if yin and yang is that. I wonder if yin and yang means that. And I looked it up, and I'll read out the meaning of yin and yang to you guys, because I had no idea what yin and yang meant. I was like, they go together like yin and yang, and I never really actually knew what the meaning of it was. And what does yin and yang mean? Here we go. Yin, Chinese for female or moon, represents darkness, femininity, passivity, and earth. Yang, sun or male, represents light, masculinity, activity, and heavens. In the symbol yin, that's not what I was looking at. Yin and yang. Here we go. Principle of yin and yang is that all things exist as inseparable and contradictory opposites. For example, female, male, dark, light, old, young. So basically means one can't exist without the other, or one, they go together. And I think that the hardships of life and the good times of life are like yin and yang. You need them to be together. They go perfectly together. They go hand in hand. I just thought it was cool. I never knew what yin and yang meant until I looked it up. And there you go. It means that. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up for tonight or this evening. And the next time you'll see me will be tomorrow, and I'll be talking. I'll transition this smoothly so you won't even know into talking about my plant-based diet. Cool. Yeah, so for me, I'll have a whole night's sleep. But for you guys, it'll be like 2 seconds. So I'll see you then. I'm just going to record the whole thing tonight because I don't feel like going to bed yet. I feel like talking shit to you guys. Double psych. I've gone to bed. I've woken up. That's how smooth these transitions are. You don't even know that it's the next day. Unless you're watching it, then you'll see that I'm in different clothes and it's sunnier and it's brighter. I noticed when I was editing the video last night that it started to die out, the brightness, as I was editing. So now it's bright and it looks wonderful. All right, let's get into this. So first, we're going to take a trip down memory lane. We're going to go back to 2017, the 23rd of May specifically. I had to do a deep dive on my social media to find this one out. Shout outs to Coco Coast. To find out that date. 23rd of May is the day I decided to go vegetarian for 1 week. I think it was a Monday. And I was like, I'm going to try vegetarian for a week because I was eating red meat a lot around that time. And I started to feel a bit backed up, a bit heavy in the guts, a bit, heavy in the stomach. And I was like, I want to feel light. I want to get rid of all this fucking heaviness in the stomach. And I had been giving one of my mates shit about being a vegetarian. And I was like, I used to give him relentlessly, like, how are you alive? How does your body not just crumble underneath you? All the stereotypical shit you would say to a vegetarian. And I was like, you know what? I can't give him this much shit and not try it myself. So I was like, all right, we're trying it. We're giving it a crack. And I decided to, just go vegetarian for 1 week. That's all I was going to do. I bought enough, food. I planned my meals out for the week. And that's all I was going to do. Going from, eating steak, I think I was eating steak every day the week before, to eating just vegetables the week after. And that from that week onwards, I didn't look back. I haven't had a single piece of meat since, which is fucking crazy, because it's been, when was that? 23rd of May, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 4.5 years. And then, so after that week, I felt like felt charged up. I had so much more energy, was ready to fucking go all the time. It was the best. My recovery was so much better because I was training pretty heavily at the time. I was killing it. It was so good. I felt lighter, felt fresher, I felt like I had so much more to give, and it was fantastic. Like, my capacity had automatically increased. I just felt good. I just felt good, and I was like, so first week went past, and I was like, I'm going to keep doing this. Then week 2 went past, and I was like, I'm going to keep doing this as well. And then it just kept going, and I was like, you know what? I am going to keep doing this until I feel shit. And I just never felt shit. I just kept feeling better and better and better, and I was like, you know what? Fine. This is, what it's going to be for now. And I had a few people try and convince me to not be vegetarian, which I thought was a bit weird. I was like, why not? Why does it matter to you? Just let me eat the way I want to eat. So I was like, no, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because I feel good. And then when did it all started to change? So, like, obviously those were peak eating disorder days as well. But it all started to kind of change mid to early 2019. Early 2019, I went through a really shit patch where my eating disorder got real bad. And I was like making myself throw up quite a bit, which was not healthy. And then mid 2019, I got to a point where, I think it was around June, July, August. Got to a point where I was listening to a lot of information on the vegan diet. I was listening to specifically Simon Hill's Plant Proof podcast. And there was a lot of information or a lot of stuff on that podcast about, I think it was I listened to the one with Dr. Will Boschwitz. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but there was one of them with him. I think there was a few with him, but I listened to one of them with him. And he was talking about gut microbiome and how, like, you need to keep your gut microbiome. You need an abundance of different foods to keep your microbiome healthy and happy. And if you keep a well-balanced, plant-based diet, it's the best, the best way to go about it. And I was like, I don't know, it kind of weighed on me a bit, that stuff, because deep down I was thinking, I was like, shit, like, I'm binge eating a bunch of junk food and then throwing it up. I was like, my stomach is not going to be in good shape. Like, I'd been following a few people on social media that had come back from an eating disorder, and it's 3 or 4 years on and they're still struggling with the symptoms or the damage that they'd caused themselves. And I was sitting there like, fuck. Like, I felt like I hit a crossroad. I felt like I literally came to a crossroads, and I was like, brief interruption there. I came to a crossroads, and I was like, all right, I can keep going down this path, and then I can get, 4 or 5 years down the track, then realize I need help, then be stuck in a position where I have to make up for 4 or 5 years worth of damage, or I can sort my shit out now, get on top of it, get 4 or 5 years down the track, and be like, fuck yeah, I'm so glad I did that. And that's the decision I made. I was like, you know what? I'm no longer going to do this anymore. Drew the line with my eating disorder. And then I was like, all right, time to try and shift my diet in a positive way. Did that, started having more and more plant-based foods, and started focusing more on that. I kind of got rid of cheese. And this was over, a few months. Got rid of cheese, and it was down to the last thing. The last thing I had was eggs, and I didn't get rid of eggs straight away because I had removed everything else. But eggs stayed because I used to like making banana bread every week, and it would be like my favorite little thing to do. Especially since, given the eating disorder a flick, I was like, I get to eat stuff now. So I was like making banana bread every weekend. And eggs, I needed eggs for my banana bread. So I didn't want to get rid of that. And then there was one week I tried to make banana bread with like a flaxseed egg, and it worked. And the banana bread was delicious. And I was like, cool. And then that week I didn't have eggs. And then I was like, I got to the next week and I was like, I'm going to make banana bread with flaxseed again. And then I was like, shit, it's 2 weeks. And I was like, well, guess I'm vegan now. And that was back in, I've got notes here to reference that so I don't forget the date, September 2019. So now it's been 2 years. Nice. I didn't realize that. 2 years of being fully vegan, which is crazy. I'm just going to pull down this blind so that the light doesn't keep reflecting off my lats. Will the headphones stay attached? No. I apologise for that one. Oh, yeah. All right, we're back. Yeah, sorry about that. And from then on, obviously vegan. And initially, it was the first 2 weeks were hard. I didn't feel like when I first went vegetarian, I felt fucking fantastic. I felt like I could destroy the world. But then when I first went vegan, it wasn't the same. I felt different. I didn't feel as like I had as much energy. I didn't feel as good. I didn't feel as, G'd up. That was missing, honestly. Like that was missing from my I don't know. I just didn't have that feeling, and it came down to the fact I just wasn't eating enough. So I started to listen to my body more, and I was like, all right, if I'm hungry, I'm going to eat. And I started, incorporating more and more plant proteins and stuff like that. And it took me a while to figure out the hardest part at first was just figuring out what meals to have and like what my go-to meals would be when I couldn't be bothered making food. I had obviously had them with, my meat-based diet and vegetarian diet. I had, easy go-to meals that I would cook and make myself. But I didn't have them in the way of vegan diet yet. So, and this was kind of like, I know there was a lot more options in terms of vegan options at the supermarkets, but it was still a little bit before the boom that's happened recently. So there weren't many mock meats and stuff like that. There weren't many mock chickens. There weren't stuff. It wasn't like that. There was, the tofu, and then there was the flavored tofu, and then there might have been a few like vegan mince, like mince meat products, but it was limited. There wasn't heaps of mock meat products, or at least there wasn't heaps here in Australia. And I know there was a lot more than there would have been if I had gone vegan, early 2000s, but there wasn't as much as there is now. So it meant trying to find my go-to meals, and that was kind of hard at first. It took me a while, bit of trial and error. I just, obviously the first few weeks I wasn't eating enough and I felt a bit flat. And I think a lot of people make that mistake. A lot of people make that error when they're starting out, especially if they try and go vegetarian or vegan straight off a meat-based diet. They're like, all right, great. All I've got to do is just chop out the meat and eat the salad. And it doesn't work like that because you're getting a lot of like meat and stuff is very calorie dense and protein dense too. You can't just take that out and eat more salad because that isn't going to give you, like, you're going to miss out on your fats and your protein. So you got to try and counteract that, and that's what I didn't do. So I obviously learned to eat more protein, my falafels, my chickpeas, whatever, stuff like that. Like you start to realize that there's protein in a lot of things. Like so many people, like it's the age-old stereotypical question of, oh, where'd you get your protein? Where'd you get your protein? And it's like, it's in fucking everything, dude. Like everything. Your fucking pasta has protein in it. Your fucking, obviously all your legumes and your beans and stuff have protein in them. It's in fucking everything. It's in broccoli. It's in broccoli, man. Protein's in broccoli. And you can get what was it? There was one combination that I was eating heaps of in the early days, and it was like the amino acid profile. You could actually hit the full amino acid profile by having broccoli with mustard seed powder on top, and that would give you your full amino acid profile. Don't know why I threw that in there, but that was just a little tidbit that I remember from back in the day. But yeah, there's protein in everything. And as long as you're eating enough, you're going to be fine. Like if you're an athlete, yes, you need to monitor it more closely. But I never counted calories when I was on my vegan diet. On my vegetarian, no, I did for a bit on my vegetarian one. I went through a phase where I counted calories, and I don't think I'll ever do that again. It just wasn't healthy. It doesn't line up with me and my... Obviously, I have fucking eating disorder issues, so I'm not going to go around counting calories because that'll become obsessive and it's not going to benefit me positively. It'll be a negative impact. So I, never counted calories I haven't counted anything. Haven't counted macros or anything on my vegan diet, which is a good thing. So I've just kind of figured it out as I've gone along, trial and error. I have my bloods done a couple of times and, mate, no issues. No issues at all. I remember... this was when I was vegetarian and my diet wasn't great. There was phases where it wasn't great. Like there was stages there where I was literally living off fucking low-fat yogurt, protein powder, and frozen berries. I mean, it was delicious, but that's what I was fucking eating all the time. Like that was my main meal. That's what I had for dinner. That was not healthy. And I had a blood test and the doctor told me, he's like, dude, there's something wrong with the liver. Like, are you taking any protein powders? And I was like, yeah, like, a couple of scoops a day. And he's like, you got to stop because the little, microbial particles or whatever, your liver struggles to process them. And I was like, whatever, dude. Like, I kept having my BCAAs, my fucking amino acids, my protein powders, didn't give a fuck. And it wasn't until I went vegan, because the vegan protein powders, I found one now, Mirakai Superfoods, and it's amazing. I love it. All natural. Like, seriously, if you are looking for one, have a look. Mirakai Superfoods on Instagram and just look them up. Fucking fantastic protein powder. But back in the day, I didn't have any really good ones because I was just starting out. So I didn't take any protein powders, and then I had my bloods done not shortly into my stint as being vegan because I just wanted to keep track and make sure I was on top of all my vitamins and stuff. And that issue with my liver had gone because I was no longer having protein powders and I was eating a good diet, mind you. It probably has nothing to do with going vegan. It's probably everything to do with just eating a good diet. But that shift, that change was positive. It spurred a lot of positive things in my life. Discovering the plant-based diet, it probably pulled me away from discovering Plant-Proof podcast opened my eyes to a lot of things, and that pulled me away from, or opened my eyes to, my destructive behavior. And I was like, I got to get out of this. I can't be doing this stuff anymore. It's not good for me. And that ultimately was the reason that I went vegan, was because I was like, this is not what I'm doing at the moment is not sustainable. And then I looked back, I got to 6 months and I looked back and I was like, you know what? I'm going to eat like this for the rest of my life. I have no intention, and I still hold that. I have no intention of ever going back. I will eat this way for the rest of my life because it's done nothing but good for me. I've had no issues at all. And, I'll touch on a bit of the benefits and stuff. I don't want to go too facty because I feel like sometimes facts, people get their backs up about facts, but I have a few little pamphlets here I'm holding up in front of the camera that I'll read a bit and pull a bit of info from later. Not right now. Right now I'm telling my story. Just about the plant-based diet and stuff like that, the impact that it has and the positive side to it, negative side to it. But try, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, so don't fucking, I know a few things based off my own research because I did that before taking the jump into a completely plant-based diet. There was another bit of info that jumped into my head. I didn't change my bio to plant-based. Or no, I had it. I didn't change it. I didn't want to change it for 6 months, I think. I was like, I'm going to leave it. Or maybe it was 3 months. But there was a certain amount of time that I left my bio as I didn't want to put it in there because I was like, nah. I think I had it vegetarian. I was like, I'm not going to change it for at least 3 months. And then I feel like I've earned the right. And then I changed it to 100% plant-based. And then what is it now? Is it vegan yet? Because I was like, I'm not going to change it to vegan for a year. Yeah, I waited for a full year. I waited 12 months before I changed my Instagram bio. Not that it's a fucking big thing to vegan, because I was like, no, I've got to earn this shit. I can't just be, some pretender. What was we talking about? What was we talking about before I got on this fucking tangent? Yeah, it kind of spurred a lot of positive changes in my life. So for me, I'm never looking back. I'm never going back to, eating a meat-based or even vegetarian. I'm not interested. And like, speaking on not wanting to say a bunch of facts and not wanting to saturate you guys with facts and shit like that, I'm not a pushy person when it comes to this stuff. Like, I know there are a lot of vegans and people like that activists and people that kind of push people and open other, like, not forceful, but are more pushy when it comes to people and like trying to convince them to jump on board with this diet. I'm not like that. I believe in like just leading by example. That's what I do. I'm going to lead by example, and you will see me improve, get better, and you'll see me thrive, and you'll be like, oh shit, maybe it's worth having a shot. Like, he's been doing it for a long time and he's had no issues. Maybe it's worth having a shot. And then I just slowly throw in bits and pieces of information. I don't ever attack anyone. I don't want people to feel bad about the way they're eating. I just want them to know the information. So I'll put bits of information out there. Like, one that astounds me is if we took all the food, so if you add up the calories of the food that we feed to exports, or not exports, why'd I say that? Like cattle, fucking pigs and whatever, chickens, all that kind of stuff. If you take the calories of the food that we feed to those animals, livestock, if you take the calories of the food we feed to them, and then you take the calories that they give to us by, slaughter and the meat that we get from them, it's inefficient, which is one thing, which is ridiculous to me. It's like, why would you do that? That's so dumb. Why would you go and spend all this money and time growing these like soy crops and fucking hay and all this shit, like, to make feed for livestock, only to feed them and put that money into them, and then them give you less? So it's like you taking $1,000, putting it on crypto, putting it on fucking, SHIB coin or SHIB token, and instead of tripling your money, you get back 1/3. So you get back $33. Why would you do it? Why would you? I don't know the exact percentages, so let's just say it was half or even 2/3, right? So you lose $333 of your investment. Why would you do that? That's not efficient. That's dumb. When you can turn around and just produce that much food and then fucking feed the whole planet, and you could probably end poverty or end starvation in certain countries if we just decided, no, you know what? Let's not produce livestock and, let's not mass produce it, not feed them all this fucking perfectly good food and then get back less in return. I just think it's silly. Going back to SHIB token, just a crypto tidbit in here for you all. It's like a meme coin, like Dogecoin, and I jumped onto it, I don't know, probably like 3 or 4, 5, 6 months ago, maybe. And it's just blown up. Like, I'm up $300 or $400. I only put $100 in. Crazy. But some dude put in $8,000 about, it was like 400 and something days ago. So it'd probably be like 15 days ago now. And his investment is worth 5.6 or $5.7 billion now. Wild. Yeah. So like, for me, it's inefficient. It's not good for the environment. Like, you look at, all right, so I'm going to move to, before I go into all this shit, I feel like I can move into the next part of the story. So it'll kind of flow in better. So going back to, the reason I went plant-based was for my health, my benefit. I was like, I need to do this, and it spurred a lot of positive decisions in my life. And it wasn't for like 3 or 4 months that I decided to watch Dominion, because I was like, I know factory farming's fucked. I know it's bad. I know it's not a good thing, and it's, I knew how bad it was. Well, I didn't know how bad it was, but I knew that it wasn't a good thing, and I knew it was fucked up. But I was like, I'm not watching this because I don't want to expose myself to this kind of shit. I don't want to feel the way it's going to make me feel. And I was pleading ignorance to it. I was like, nope, I don't care, blah, 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 all this stuff, macho, no. And then one day I was like, you know what? I'm a vegan now. I need to understand. I need to see how bad this is. And I decided to watch it, and it was fucking rough. If you haven't seen Dominion, watch it. And like, I don't know how you could watch that and not feel like a sack of shit for eating meat. Like, it fucked me up big time. Like, I was watching that and I was like, I'm a vegan now and I regret eating meat for my whole life. Like, I feel like a piece of shit after watching this, because like, look what it's doing. So like, it's confronting, it fucking sucks, but I feel like so much of us are just playing ignorance and like, yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like, I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast with Jewel. She's a fucking badass, by the way. Like, I've listened to more since yesterday, and she has been through so much as a person. So like, please go and listen to it, because she will open your eyes up to a lot of things. She talks a lot about mental health and helping yourself and understanding yourself. So go and listen to it, please, because it's pretty fucking good. And like, she's got so many stories about her life being homeless, just like how she had to fight. She used to fucking steal shit. She used to steal medication because she was trying to treat a liver infection that almost killed her. Just go and listen to the fucking podcast. It's insane. But she was talking to Rogan because she grew up on a homestead in Alaska, which is where they like, you catch what you eat. You catch and grow what you eat. And if you don't catch or grow anything, you don't eat anything. So that's how they live. And she was saying these days there's just such a big disconnect with that food. And it's so true. We have like, you plead ignorance. You have no idea what it takes to grow the food. You have no idea what it takes to, get it to you. And then you just buy it at the shops. And that's the same for vegetables too. You don't know what it takes to grow vegetables. You don't know what it takes to grow this perfect fucking capsicum. You don't know what it's like. And the same with animals. You don't know what it takes to get those animals to you, and you don't see what they go through. Like, you don't see. Rogan used the example of like, man, they wear fucking gumboots and like swimming pants because they're wading through like fucking floors full of blood, like a foot of blood in these slaughterhouses, because they're just running through, fucking slicing animals' necks open and gutting them on the floor. That's so fucked up. Like, but no one is aware of that. You just see this packaged fucking pork or this packaged beef and you're like, cool. And you take it home and you eat it. You don't understand where it comes from. And there's this huge disconnect these days with where our food comes from. And that's a fucking big problem. Like, we don't understand it. Like, for me, yeah, I'm vegan, but I have I have a lot of respect for people. I have more respect for those who go out and hunt their own food, whether it's animals or whatever. Like, obviously hunters are going to be eat animals, but I have so much more respect for them than the people going to the shops and just buying the food. Because you know what? In order to get, like, a lot of vegans hate on Joe Rogan, but he talks about it in his podcast quite a bit, and a lot of vegans don't listen to it because they don't like him. But for me, I listen to it, and he talks about hunting, and he's like, when I kill an elk or something like that, I have respect for that animal. I will, I don't know what the term is, but he butchers it. Once he kills it, he shoots it with a bow and arrow, then he butchers it, and he will not let any single part of that elk go to waste, because he has respect for that. He knows he knew how hard it was to try and catch it or try and actually shoot it. Like, sometimes he says you're out there for like fucking days trying to track this shit down, and then when you finally get it, you miss, and then you got to go and track it down again. And then when you finally get it, you have a respect for the animal. You know how much of an elite athlete it was, and you have respect for it, and you treat it that way when you prepare it and when you actually eat it. And then when you're eating it, you're like, fuck, like, you have a connection to it. Like, it sounds fucked up, and I know if you're like, there are probably vegan people listening to this thinking, what the fuck are you on about, man? Like, aren't you meant to be vegan? But like, if you were to kill that animal, you would have, it's the same connection you would have eating homegrown food. You go out there and you hunt an elk. You're going to have a connection every time you eat a bit of that elk. You're going to think back to the time that you had that interaction with that animal, and you're giving it the respect. You're giving it more respect than we give animals that go into a slaughterhouse and you don't know the shitty life they lived. You don't know anything. Like, whereas the elks that get hunted, they're out there living, nearly full lives, years, like a couple of, like, I don't know, 10, 15 years, 10 or 12 years, I think they might be out there, running around in the wild, living it up. And then, they have a bad day. But the animals that grow up in slaughterhouses, they grow up in shitty conditions, horrible, get fed a cocktail of fucked up stuff to make them massive and grow faster than they should grow. And then they get killed, electrocuted, or fucking, they see all their mates die in front of them, and then they're just treated as food or objects. They don't get any respect. And then they go to the market, and then you can have mince meat, and it can have like fucking, 30 different cows in it. You wouldn't know. Whereas if you hunt an animal and you kill it and you prepare it, you know that that's all from the one animal that you spent time and effort to get. And that's when you would have an appreciation for it. So that's why I have more respect for people that do that than people that just buy their food and shit at the supermarket. Like, for me, I do buy my stuff at the supermarket. I've grown some fruit and vegetables, over the years, but most of my shit I just buy from the supermarket. So even I have that disconnect, and that's something I'm trying to work on. Like, I want to get better at understanding what goes into food and how you actually get it. Like, I'm understanding, I just buy tofu, but I understand how to make tofu, and that's a lot of work. Like, if I was to make my own, it takes a lot of time, and time is, time's a scarce resource. But you can do it. You've just got to commit to it. Shit, that was a big tangent, eh? Yeah, it takes time. You just got to commit to it. Fuck. Same as plastic use. Far out. If you're not watching, like, the biggest thing that supermarkets did was get rid of the plastic bags at the supermarket. I'm wanting them to get rid of the fucking plastic bags you put your fruit and vegetables in, because that's ridiculous. Every time I think, oh no, they have now, haven't they? I think they have. Honestly, I don't know, because I haven't used plastic at the supermarket for a long time. But yeah, once you become aware of how much plastic we fucking use and waste, and that shit doesn't break down for thousands of years, you start to freak out. It gives me anxiety. So I've made, conscious efforts not to consume plastic anymore, because it's not good for you. It's not good for the fucking environment. It ends up in the oceans. And then, like, they're saying, there was a podcast that I listened to with Joe Rogan, that plastic, like, there's studies that show that plastic being in the ocean and the environment is causing men's taints to shrink, and that reduces the amount of testosterone in the male's body, which is crazy. But, like, if you can go listen to it, I'll find the name of the lady, actually, and so you can go and listen to it. It was a crazy podcast, man. See, this is why I don't know why people don't want to listen to me. He has so many cool guests on, but yeah, it was crazy. She was just talking about, like, the studies they've done on rats and stuff like that, even like the studies with humans, and it's the testosterone is decreasing over the years, and it's due to plastic, because plastic is now found in babies before they're even born, because of, how popular it is in the food that we eat, the water. Microplastics are fucking everywhere. They're everywhere. And if you buy food that's been packaged, it's going to have microplastics in it. If it's packaged in plastic, it's going to have microplastics in it, because those plastics will break down into the packet and you're consuming them. And it can't be healthy. It can't be healthy at all. Sorry, this is taking me longer than I thought it would. Maybe I'll just put it in the show notes. It's a good idea. Yeah. It's the plastic pandemic is fucking wild. And, like, I'll touch on this too. Fucking hell, Australia. With their climate change thing. Mate, they were supposed to, they're like, yeah, we're going to announce this stuff to, help with climate change, all this kind of crap. Mate, they did nothing. They're going to be net zero by 2050. That's going to be fucking too late, dude. Like, by the time that rolls around, we're fucked. We're not going to last. We don't even have enough time. We're not going to last another 10 years if we keep going the way we're going. The amount of plastic and waste that we produce, we're not even... you got to make an effort. And yeah, it's the big corporations. Like, I just listened to fucking other podcast about Coca-Cola, and that shit was wild. But like we've got to. Fuck, sorry, I'm still trying to find it. Hang on, I'm gonna pause for a sec. Yeah, so I found it. Dr. Shauna Swan, episode 1638. Go and listen to it. It's very interesting, just on plastics and how it's negatively impacting us as a species. So where was I? Yeah, the plastic pandemic, man. It's so bad, and like when you open your eyes to it, it crushes. It kind of crushes your spirit a little bit. So that's why I've made changes in my personal life to try and negate my impact at least. And, those around me kind of see it and they try and make the same changes. But yeah, the Australian government has just, released a net carbon, 2050, which is fucking too late. That's pathetic. They haven't changed anything. Everything they've left. They announced this. I just keep checking my biceps our day. They announced their plan and they haven't brought anything forward or pushed anything back, and it's still the same. So we're fucking way too far behind. Like Switzerland is absolutely killing it when it comes to this shit. Like they're almost carbon net zero. Hang on, I'm gonna look this shit up. Is Switzerland? It took me a long time to spell Switzerland. Emissions. Sorry, you have to listen to me spell things out. Switzerland's NDC is split into domestic, overseas emissions, reductions, components. Switched together, that doesn't help. Is Switzerland carbon neutral? Reduce emissions to net zero by 2050, thus meaning international. Oh, so that's the same as Australia. Anyway, not the point. If you look at the things that they implement over there, mate, they're fucking way further ahead than we are. Over here in Australia, we are so far behind. Like, one of the biggest things is nuclear energy. So I don't know if I've already mentioned this on the podcast, but I was well and truly against it. And because like watch The Simpsons, like nuclear meltdown, fuck that. But it's obviously come a long way in the past fucking 50 years, and it's so efficient. Like you get so much. I think the example they used was, the size of your phone. Plutonium the size of your phone can give you enough energy for your whole house, your entire life. Like that's crazy. That's so much more efficient than carbon emission, like carbon reliant shit that you burn coal to fucking create electricity. Even your even the nature's inefficient too. It's inefficient. It's like solar panels. You're going to burn through solar panels. They're going to become waste. Your wind and your sun isn't always around, whereas like I like the stuff that they use water, so flowing rivers and stuff like that. That's clever, but none of it's as efficient as nuclear energy, and they can actually store the nuclear waste properly, and they can keep it in warehouses and stack it as high as the fucking size you want, and it's safe. So like that kind of direction, we should be trying to fucking look at that stuff. Not, we're going to keep going down the same path and we're going to things will be fine. Things are going to turn out okay. It's probably not. Like I'm so annoyed that our state, Victoria, hasn't banned single-use plastics. Like a lot of other states have, or have announced they're going to ban it, but Victoria, no, not yet. And that kind of annoys me. It frustrates me. Because it shouldn't be. It's how fucking hard is it to see that that's a problem? Fuck, this vegan podcast has gone on a bit of a tangent, more of an environmental plastics rant. Hey, maybe I should continue this next week with some more tidbits and facts. Yeah, so I think I'll do that. Because I'm all revved up now. So bottom line, I'll continue this in my next episode. I'll come out with some vegan facts and some, environmental facts and stuff for you. And hopefully I'll come out at a more chilled point. But for me, let's just go back to the start. And for me, the reason I went vegan was initially health, but then I realized the impacts that it was having. I've realized our negligence as a race, and then I watched Dominion, and I realized the compassion. I found the compassion I have for animals again, and since that, I love animals so much, and I can love them, and I can give them my attention. I'm like, you know what? No, I don't have to feel guilty because I'm not supporting factory farming. I'm not supporting the slaughter of animals that aren't like that. They have fucking lives too. They feel pain. They say they don't feel pain because, they don't want us to think that, but they fucking feel pain. Are you serious? You see them squeal when they get fucking shot in the head and the bolt doesn't work and they're still alive, when they don't want to go through the chute because they see their family getting slaughtered. Like, that's fucked up. But they definitely feel pain. And for me, I don't want to be a part of that, and I don't agree with it at all. And I will stand up for that, and I will never go back to being that way. But that allows me to. I love animals, and I'm allowed to give animals my love without having to shut that part of my brain down. Like, okay, yes, I eat meat, but I'm still allowed to love animals. It's like, can you really? I don't think you can. Like, if you're willing to, side with that kind of shit, side with the slaughter of animals because you're hungry, but then you say, no, I love my dog. My dog's awesome. It's like, well, do you really love your dog? Because, I'm sure if all the animals in the world had a general meeting and they were like, all right, guys, these humans are committing genocide of, 4 or 5 different races of animals. What are we going to do about it? The dogs would be like on board with the fucking animals and be like, let's fuck these cunts up. Like, that's not appropriate. It's the same shit. I mean, it's a wild analogy, but it's the same shit. Like, it's not appropriate at all, and we shouldn't be fucking doing it. Anyway, to finish on a lighter note, I'm going to go into what I did today, and then I'll peace out. What happened? Is detecting feedback. Monitor on. No feedback protection. Let's hear you performance and record each. Okay, I don't know what's going on there. I don't even know if that recorded what was happening. Anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, so today, I just to try and finish on a lighter note, and then I'll continue this shit next week. Went for a swim this morning. It was really good. Had a sauna afterwards, sweated out. It was beautiful. Then went and got a coffee at Zenden. Stood in the sun for a bit. It was beautiful. Came home, washed my car. Wonderful. And then I'm undecided. I don't really want to do any strength work tonight. I can't be bothered. Like, I had a big weekend on the legs. And tomorrow I got a 3.5 hour ride. So I'm either going to do a minimum effective dose session, which means like get in, get out 20 minutes, or hit some yoga and an ice bath. And because the ice bath's up and running, ladies and gentlemen. And I think I'm going to hit an ice bath and some yoga because, 1, I could probably bring my GoPro in the ice bath and have a bit of fun with it. And 2, I don't really want to do strength. I don't know, I'm just not pumped for it today. My legs are fatigued and I want to have them for tomorrow because I'm going to probably go for some climbs again. Shocker. I'm probably going to go for some climbs tomorrow. So we'll see how we go. Anyway, hopefully some of this information was useful. Hopefully you enjoyed hearing my story. I know there was I know I went on a bit of a few rants and whatnot, but I'll come back next time with a more level-headed approach, and I'll give you some facts from these fact booklets that will actually, benefit. That way you have some knowledge to take away from it, and not just me ranting solo to the mic, It'd probably be beneficial if I got someone who wasn't vegan on and we spoke about it, hey? Anyway, that's food for thought. Have a fucking ripper day. Get out there. Get in the sun, mate. Get in the fucking sun. I don't know if I mentioned this in the last one, but my whoop's been asking me recovery questions. Apologies if I've already spoken about this in this episode. Recovery questions about how many hours I've spent outside during the day. And it's been like 6 or more hours a week. Every day, all week, which is fucking awesome. I love that. Getting out there in the sunshine. My vitamin D levels must be through the fucking roof, which is probably why the vaccine didn't have any impact on me, because I'm fucking bulletproof, yo. Get out there, get it done. Enjoy the fucking sun, Have a fucking ripper day. Towing the Line, episode 18. Oh, it's going to be out tonight. Yeah, fucking oath. Whoop, 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 whoop. Peace out. My squad.